At school, I learned that space has 3 dimensions. But how do we know that this is true? Well, in our daily life, it is enough to specify 3 numbers to define a point in space. But is this also true in the world of atoms and particles? Maybe not. In recent years, the idea of additional dimensions of space has become popular among physicists. This has come about because string theory promises a unified description of all forces, including gravity, by describing fundamental particles as little vibrating strings of energy. But string theory only works in a world with 9 dimensions of space instead of our ordinary 3. So where would these additional dimensions be? They may be hidden from us because they are curled up very small. Take the example of a power line cable. Seen from a distance, it looks like a one-dimensional object, a line. But if you get closer, you will see that a little bug walking on that cable can move in 2 dimensions. It can walk forwards and backwards, or it can walk around the cable. In the same way, a 4th dimension could be invisible if you only look on a macroscopic scale, so it would be hidden from our everyday experience. Is there any hope of finding these extra dimensions? Yes. Future experiments at the Large Hadron Collider at CERN may be able to detect their existence. The very high energy of the colliding particles may squeeze some of them together so strongly that they can escape into the hidden space of extra dimensions, if these exist. Unfortunately, you cannot put a particle detector into this hidden space to prove that it is really happening. However, if the escaping particles spend a long time in the hidden space, their disappearance could be proven indirectly. By measuring precisely all energies of the particles involved and subtracting the initial energy of the collision, you could tell that some energy has disappeared. First thing in the morning, I sometimes stand on the stairs and wonder why I weigh more than I did last week. Well, one thing is sure, it's not the force of gravity that's changed. I probably ate too much. But why do I weigh anything at all? That sounds like a stupid question, but actually it's a clue to one of the deep mysteries of physics. From Newton, we know that masses attract each other. My body is made of particles, so it is the mass of these particles pulled by the mass of the Earth that causes my weight. But that doesn't explain why particles have mass. Electrons and quarks are the most fundamental particles because they don't have a detectable substructure. So the mystery is, how can such tiny objects with no structure have a mass? The Higgs theory may provide the answer. It predicts that space is filled with a Higgs field that interacts with all particles. The Higgs field is attracted to them and it tends to drag at them, so even the tiniest particles behave as though they have a mass. The heaviest particles are simply the ones that interact most strongly with the Higgs field, and that explains how particles get their mass. If the theory is right, then the Higgs field would also interact with itself to make a particle called the Higgs boson. If enough field energy gets tangled up in a small space, as it does during particle collisions in the Large Hadron Collider at CERN, then it would produce a particle we can detect. Observing a Higgs boson would be a demonstration that the theory is correct. But it may be that we find several types of Higgs boson filling the same role, or we might find a completely new and surprising explanation. Whatever the outcome, it will be a crucial step in understanding the mystery of why fundamental particles have mass.